Exodus chapter 39, verses 1 to 43. I am reading from the New Revised Standard Version, the Green Bible. Verse 1. Of the blue, purple, and crimson yarns, they made finely worked vestments for ministering in the holy place. They made the sacred vestments for Aaron as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 2. He made the ephod of gold, of blue, purple, crimson yarns, and of fine twisted linen. Verse 3. Gold leaf was hammered out and cut into threads to work into the blue, purple, and crimson yarns and into the fine twisted linen in skilled design. Verse 4. They made for the ephod shoulder pieces joined to it as its two edges. Verse 5, the decorated band on it was of the same materials and workmanship of gold, of blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and of fine twisted linen, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 6, the onyx stones were prepared, enclosed in sittings of gold filigree, and engraved like the engravings of a signet, according to the names of the sons of Israel. Verse 7, he set them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod to be stones of remembrance for the sons of Israel, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 8, he made the breastpiece in skilled work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, of blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and of fine twisted linen. Verse 9, it was square. The breastpiece was made double, a span in length and a span in width when doubled. Verse 10. They set in it 4 rows of stones. A row of carnelian, chrysolite, and emerald was the first row. Verse 11. And the second row, a turquoise, a sapphire, and a moonstone. Verse 12. And the third row, a jacinth, an agate, and amethyst. Verse 13, and the fourth row, a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were enclosed in sittings of gold filigree. Verse 14, there were 12 stones with names corresponding to the names of the sons of Israel. They were like signets, each engraved with its names for the 12 tribes. Verse 15, they made on the breastpiece chains of pure gold twisted like cords. Verse 16, and they made 2 sittings of gold filigree and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 edges of the breastpiece. Verse 17, and they put the 2 cords of gold in the 2 rings at the edges of the breastpiece. Verse 18, 2 ends of the 2 cords they had attached to the 2 sittings of filigree. In this way, they attached it in front to the shoulder pieces of the ephod. Verse 19, then they made 2 rings of gold and put them at the 2 ends of the breastpiece, on its inside edge next to the ephod. Verse 20, they made 2 rings of gold and attached them in front to the lower part of the 2 shoulder pieces of the ephod, at its joining above the decorated band of the ephod. Verse 21, they bound the breastpiece by its rings to the rings of the ephod with a blue cord, so that it should lie on the decorated band of the ephod, and that the breastpiece should not come loose from the ephod, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 22, he also made the robe of the ephod woven all of blue yarn. Verse 23, and the opening of the robe in the middle of it was like the opening in a coat of mail, with a binding around the opening so that it might not be torn. Verse 24, on the lower hem of the robe, they made pomegranates of blue, purple, and crimson yarns, and of fine twisted linen. Verse 25, they also made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates on the lower hem of the robe, all around between the pomegranates. Verse 26, a a bale and a pomegranate, a bale and a pomegranate, all around on the lower hem of the robe for ministering as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 27, they also made the tunics woven of fine linen for Aaron and his sons. Verse 28, and the turban of fine linen, and the headdresses of fine linen, and the linen of undergarments of fine twisted linen. Verse 29, and the sash of fine twisted linen, and of blue, purple, and crimson yarns, embroidered with needlework as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 30, they made the rosette of the holy diadem of pure gold, and wrote on it an inscription like the engraving of a signet, holy to the Lord. Verse 31, they tied to it a blue cord to fasten it on the turban above, as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 32, in this way, all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of meeting was finished. The Israelites had done everything just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 33, then they brought the tabernacle to Moses, the tent and all its utensils, its hooks, its frames, its bars, its pillars, and its bases, the covering of the tan rams, skins, and the covering of the fine leather, and the curtain for the screen. Verse 35, the Ark of the Covenant with its poles and the mercy seat. Verse 36, the table with all its utensils and the bread of the presence. Verse 37, the pure lampstand with its lamps set on it and all its utensils and the oil for the light. Verse 38, the golden altar, the anointing oil, and the fragrant incense, and the screen for the entrance of the tent. Verse 39, the bronze altar and its grating of bronze, its poles, and all its utensils, the basin with its stand. Verse 40, the hangings of the court, its pillars and its bases, and the screen for the gate of the court, its cords and its pigs, and all the utensils for the services of the tabernacle for the tent of meeting. Verse 41, the finely worked vestments for ministering in the holy place, the sacred vestments for the priest Aaron, and the vestments of his sons to serve as priests. Verse 42, the Israelites have done all of the work just as the Lord had commanded Moses. Verse 43, when Moses saw that they had done all the work just as the Lord had commanded, he blessed them. Exodus chapter 39, verses 1 to 43. I am reading from the New Revised Standard Version, the Green